There are shotguns sitting on gun store shelves right now, in 2026, that should not exist. Not because they are controversial, not because they are politically inconvenient, because they do not work. They look like shotguns. They feel like shotguns. They have aggressive names and tactical furniture and matte black finishes that photograph beautifully for a product listing. But the moment you load a shell and press the trigger, they become liability machines. Some of them will not cycle. Some of them will not extract. Some of them fire when you close the action with the safety on. And every single one of them is being sold to someone who does not yet know the difference between a real shotgun and a gun-shaped object manufactured by a company that might not exist next year. I am going to name 10 of them. No politics, no brand loyalty, just data. If you own one, do not get angry at me. Get angry at the company that sold it to you. Number 10. The Remington 887 Nitro Mag. This shotgun was supposed to be Remington's next-generation pump, the evolution of the legendary 870 platform. What it became was a case study in how private equity destroys a firearms brand. The 887 shipped with an armor-locked coating that was supposed to prevent rust. Instead, owners documented corrosion forming under the coating itself, trapped against the metal where it could not be cleaned or treated. The barrel and receiver were covered in a polymer shell that concealed what was happening underneath until it was too late. Reports of extraction failures, sticky actions, and shells jamming in the chamber piled up across every major forum. Remington's response, according to documented reports, was dismissive. The company that built the 870 Wingmaster, the most trusted pump action in American law enforcement history, shipped the 887 and acted surprised when it fell apart. The Freedom Group era produced a lot of damaged goods, but the 887 is the one that stings the most because it had the Remington name on it. That name used to mean something. It does not anymore. Number 9. Any Shockwave-style bird's head grip firearm purchased as a primary home defense weapon. This is not about the legality of the platform. The Mossberg 590 Shockwave and the Remington TAC-14 are legal firearms in most jurisdictions. The problem is how they are being marketed and how they are being bought. These are not shotguns. Legally, they are classified as firearms, not shotguns or rifles, because they were manufactured with a bird's head grip and never had a stock attached. And without a stock, you cannot shoulder the weapon. Without shouldering, you cannot manage recoil on a 12-gauge platform. Without managing recoil, you cannot place follow-up shots accurately under stress. At home defense distances, this matters less than you think and more than the marketing wants you to believe. A Shockwave is a fun range toy and a viable truck gun. As your primary home defense weapon, it is a liability. A 20-inch barreled pump action with a proper stock, a light, and buckshot will outperform it in every defensive scenario that matters. Number 8. The Charles Daly 301 Tactical. Charles Daly is not a manufacturer. It is a brand name that has been bought, sold, resurrected, and slapped on whatever the current importer can source most cheaply from Turkish factories. The 301 Tactical is a pump action that retails for around $200, and at that price point, you are getting exactly what the supply chain delivers. Owners have reported loose actions, poor bluing that wears through in weeks, and wood-to-metal fit that looks like it was assembled in the dark. The real danger is not just the quality. It is the warranty. When the current iteration of Charles Daly folds or rebrands, and it will because it always does, your warranty and your spare parts supply vanish with it. For the same money, a Maverick 88 gives you Mossberg internals, a proven track record, and a company that will still be answering the phone in 20 years. Number 7. The Citadel Boss 25. This is an AR-style magazine-fed shotgun imported from Turkey and sold under the Citadel brand, which is owned by Legacy Sports International. The concept is an AR platform semi-automatic 12-gauge that feeds from a detachable box magazine. The execution is a feeding and extraction nightmare. Magazine-fed semi-automatic shotguns are inherently difficult to engineer because shotgun shells are tapered and rimmed, which makes reliable feeding from a box magazine a precision problem. At price points under $500, that precision does not exist. Owners report double feeds requiring full disassembly to clear, failures to extract, and magazines that will not lock reliably into the mag well. This is a shotgun designed to look like an AR-15 on Instagram. It is not designed to function like a firearm in the field. Quick pause. If you own any of these shotguns, good experience or bad, I want to hear about it in the comments. Real-world data from real owners is how we keep this community honest. Now, let us keep going, because the next 6 are worse. Number 6. The Radical NK1. Radical is another Turkish import brand with no manufacturing infrastructure of its own. The NK1 is a semi-automatic 12-gauge that struggles with the one thing a semi-automatic needs to do reliably, which is cycle. Multiple owners have documented failures to cycle standard birdshot, meaning the gun requires high brass or heavy loads to function at all. When your semi-auto cannot run the most common and affordable 12-gauge ammunition on the market, it is not a shotgun. It is a single shot with extra steps. And when it does malfunction, there is effectively no customer service waiting for you on the other end. Number 5. The ATI Bulldog. American Tactical Imports sells this Turkish-made bullpup shotgun with aggressive marketing and a price tag that undercuts every reputable semi-auto on the market. The bullpup configuration puts the action behind the trigger, making the gun shorter overall while maintaining barrel length. In theory, this is a compelling home defense design. In practice, the ATI Bulldog has documented issues with double feeds, extraction failures, and a mandatory break-in period of 75 to 100 rounds of expensive high-brass ammunition before the gun will even begin to cycle standard loads. If you survive the break-in, reliability is inconsistent. If something breaks, ATI support has been described by owners in terms I will not repeat on this channel. Number 4. The GeForce Arms GF3T. GeForce Arms is not a gun maker. It is an importing entity that sources Turkish-made shotguns and sells them in the American market with tactical styling and competitive pricing. The GF3T is a pump action that has been documented with sharp burrs on the receiver, rough chambers, extraction failures, and finish quality that deteriorates visibly within months of purchase. The honest caveat is that some owners report functional guns, but functional is not the standard for a tool you might defend your family with. Reliable is the standard, and when the community consensus is buy a Maverick 88 instead, the conversation is over. Number 3. The Panzer Arms M4. This is a Turkish-made clone of the Benelli M4, which is arguably the finest combat shotgun ever manufactured. The Panzer M4 sells for roughly a quarter of the Benelli's price. And you get exactly what that price differential implies. The gas system is simplified to the point of unreliability. The fit and finish cut corners that the Benelli's Argo system never cuts. Owners have reported cycling failures out of the box, and the community consensus is clear. Save for the real thing. Buy a Beretta 1301 at half the price of a Benelli with twice the reliability of a Panzer, or get a pump action that will actually run when your life depends on it. Cloning a legendary design without cloning the engineering standards behind it produces a gun that looks like a Benelli and functions like a paperweight. Number 2. Any Black Aces Tactical Semi-Automatic Model. Black Aces Tactical represents the absolute peak of the tactical import bubble. Bullpup shotguns, short-barreled semi-autos, magazine-fed models, all sourced from Turkish factories with aggressive marketing that implies military-grade performance. The documented reality is a pattern of failures to feed, failures to extract, double feeds requiring full disassembly, and customer service that owners have described as non-existent. Their own website publishes a break-in procedure that amounts to an admission that the guns do not function as shipped. When the manufacturer tells you before you buy that the product might not work out of the box, that is not transparency. That is a confession printed in small type. And number 1, the single dumbest shotgun purchase you can make in 2026 is any magazine-fed semi-automatic shotgun under $500 from a brand you have never heard of. This is not one gun. This is an entire category. The AR-style magazine-fed Turkish imports that flood gun shows, online retailers, and social media ads with names that change every 6 months. They are not designed by engineers. They are designed by marketers who know that an AR-style shotgun with a 30-round drum magazine photographs well and sells to people who do not understand why reliable magazine-fed shotgun designs cost what they do. Shotgun shells are tapered, rimmed, and inconsistent in overall length. Feeding them reliably from a box or drum magazine requires precision engineering that costs real money. At $300 to $500, that engineering does not exist. What you get is a gun that might run 5 rounds before jamming, might double feed on the third shell, or might not feed at all. These are disposable novelties being marketed as defensive tools, and the gap between what the listing says and what the gun does is where people get hurt. And here is the principle that ties every entry on this list together. The question you should ask before buying any shotgun in 2026 is not how does it look, not how many accessories does it come with, and not how good is the price. The question is, who built this? What is their track record? And will they still exist if something goes wrong? Because the shotgun market right now is flooded with companies that exist to sell you a product, not to support one. A Mossberg 500 has been in production since 1961. A Maverick 88 runs every time for $200. A Benelli M4 has been in military service for over 25 years. Those are shotguns. Everything on this list is a prop with a firing pin. Now you know the difference. And if you almost bought one of these, or if you did and lived to tell the tale, drop it in the comments. Those stories protect the next buyer.